Welcome to the Genius Way Show with your host, Ben Hummel. The aim of this show is to provide education, encouragement, and insights for people who are on their own personal development journeys. As a psychotherapist, teacher, author, and creator of the Genius Way process, Ben will focus on identifying common challenges to living a purposeful life, and will share valuable psychological and spiritual tools to help you make healthy and empowering life changes. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey friends, welcome to the Genius Way Show. I'm your host, Ben Hummel. Glad to be here with you this week to talk about something very important, something that is a little companion for lots of us who are attempting to do cool and interesting things and creative things, and that is a beautiful sense of self-doubt. The nice, nasty, wet blanket that lays over all of our dreams and our hopes and our possibilities from time to time. And so, have you experienced self-doubt? I'm taking that as a foregone conclusion that you have. And I might probably, imagine that you experience that on an ongoing basis. Hopefully it's not crippling self-doubt, but, self-doubt kind of hangs around there whenever we're trying something new, whenever we're trying to kind of expand our horizons into another area in our life, whenever we're trying to open something up in our lives and experiment with something, self-doubt always kind of hangs around there in some small area in the deep recesses of our unconscious self. And so one of the things that happens with self-doubt is that it kind of acts as a supposed monitor for whether or not we are authentic or not. So in other words, let's say your dream is to become a singer, okay? And you have doubts that you're good enough to do this or that on stage. And so the self-doubt is acting like a monitor in between you and your talent, saying, well, I don't know if you're good enough, so you better kind of hang back, take it easy, maybe practice some more. Maybe you shouldn't do it at all because you'll humiliate yourself. And, it kind of holds everything back as if we're an imposter. Whereas if we take that step to go on stage and go sing or go do whatever it is that you're trying to do, that step makes the difference between being an imposter that kind of listens to the self-doubt as the authority and actually being, a real professional singer or whatever it is you're doing. So it's kind of the author of imposter syndrome, that sense of self-doubt. And so in the big scope of things, self-doubt is not a problem. It's just how we've been approaching it as we do what we do. So it's hard to move into a new area of your life or explore a new area of your life or explore something that you're interested in terms of personal development when it's hard to imagine that you're going to be great at it in 1 second. It's hard to imagine that you're going to achieve success the first time out. And so self-doubt comes along to kind of cushion the blow, right? And so when we see self-doubt in the way of like, I don't really know how I'm going to do with this, instead of you're an imposter and you shouldn't do that, we can see it in like a proper context. Yeah, you might be right. I might hit a couple flat notes. I might, stop short of my goal. I might learn that I'm not really that great at this and I have to take another path. But the self-doubt is not there to cripple us. It's just there to kind of like give us that little extra inward momentum to keep going. And let me explain that. So just like we take an antibiotic to heal something, heal a bacteria in our system, or a vaccine, sometimes the little bit of the vaccine is the sickness itself, and it makes our body create the antibodies. I'm definitely not a medical professional, so forgive me for those of you who are. My clumsy way to describe this is that it gives us a little bit of the poison to help our body overcome what it's doing in there, what the disease is doing, or what the flu is doing, or whatever we've got. Same thing with self-doubt. Self-doubt is like an inner critic that we have to summon a deeper belief in ourselves in order to kind of move past the self-doubt. So if you really hang out with self-doubt enough, you're going to see that we kind of need it in a way. We need that little bit of failure in terms of the self-doubt in order to push past it. We need that inner critic for a minute just to say, no, sorry, I'm going to do this anyway. You know, when you do that, when you use the self-doubt in that way, where I've got a critic telling me I can't do it, that I shouldn't do it, that I'm not good enough, and I kind of move in that direction anyway, think about how deep you have to go to continue to move, to continue to explore that avenue that you're wanting to explore. You know, so that's what's good about self-doubt. It's that it gives just the right amount of, if we're doing it right, it gives the right amount of resistance to our progress that we need to summon the strength to overcome it. And this is all done without the exterior critic, right? So self-doubt in and of itself is not a problem. The way we relate to it is what the problem is. So self-doubt is kind of like, without our participation, it has zero power over us to stop us in doing our creative enterprise, So self-doubt. So in my book, The Genius Way, Expressing Your Unique Gifts, there is a thing called the Genius Way process. I teach 10 life skills that help us to get in touch with our genius qualities, our gifts and our talents and our skills that we were born with, that when we express them, they kind of lead us into a life that feels really fulfilling and work that is rewarding and refreshing and gives us energy, right? So in my book, in each one of those chapters, in each life skill that I teach, there is a section for doubts. And the doubts, it's important to acknowledge them, not to shy away from them, not to ignore them, not to pretend you don't have them, but to acknowledge them. When doubts are acknowledged for what they are, you can then move past it. So let's say, again, we use our example of you being a singer. Oh, I want to sing. Where will I sing? Some people like to go to sing karaoke. Some people get invited to sing at maybe a wedding or, some other function, or maybe you have you want to try a coffee house, open mic night, something like that. Just small examples. When you allow yourself to experience your self-doubt, you listen to what it says. And so, for example, your self-doubt might say, well, your voice isn't that good. You haven't really sang in front of people before, or, this person liked your voice, but the other person just, when you sang, they didn't really give you a thumbs up, you're going to make a fool of yourself. All these things that your self-doubt says, right? You let it say it. Okay. And then when it's exhausted itself, you keep going anyway and listen to the things that the reasons that you want to sing. Why do you want to sing? It feels great to sing. I love being in front of people. I love being able to test myself. I love music. It just kind of flows through me. There are reasons that you want to sing. So what you have to do is let those reasons and that feeling and that kind of beautiful quality you have when you sing, let that be the last thing that reverberates in your awareness rather than the doubt being the last thing. Okay? Don't let the doubt be the last thing that is kind of like being said in your consciousness. Does that make sense? So in that way, doubts are not a problem. They're part of life. They're part of trying something new. But doubts in and of themselves are not problematic if we don't let them be the last voice that we hear when we're trying our endeavor. So this is what's important here. Your doubts are not your enemy. In a way, they are a really good friend. And the more you can learn about your doubts, you'll see that whatever you try, your doubts are going to be kind of the same thing. They're going to say the same. Whether you're going to be trying out for a singing gig, or whether you're going to be auditioning for something else, or kind of applying for a job, or going on a date with a new person, the doubts are always the same. And if you can kind of catalog, what are those self-doubts? What are those things that I always say about myself that are not helpful to me moving forward, that are not helpful, that are not, realistic about who I actually am? You're going to see those doubts are going to give themselves away, without crawling too far down into our psychology, which kind of is impossible here because I'm talking to about 10,000 people right now, and we've got 10,000 different universes of psychology. So without spinning down there, generally, our doubts are always going to say the same thing individually. They're always going to be around whatever collection of personal psychological wounds that we have. And they give themselves away by being the same all the time. And that's why it's important to take a real close look at them and take a close look to see, what is the thing that self-doubt always says about whatever it is. So that's what's important to see here. See them give themselves away. And so when you really look at them and how they give away their secret is, again, they're always the same thing. It's like a handful of things. Is like, oh, you're not good enough. You're too weak. You're too this. You're too that. Whatever it is. Everybody's got something different. When you see it, then you'll know when that feeling of self-doubt comes up, like, oh, good, I've explored that. And my energy of wanting to express myself or to do this certain task or to grow in this way is greater than that little package of doubts that's kind of just plugged into everything I'm trying to do that's different, that's new, that's taking a chance, right? So that's what's important here. Remember that the doubts will always be the same no matter what your effort is going to be, no matter what your enterprise or your experiment or your creative expression is going to be. The doubts will always be the same. So, okay, listen to this little video. Watch this little video about self-doubt and overcoming it. And we'll come back after this and dig into this subject a bit more.
Kills more dreams than failure ever will. These words, articulated by the renowned writer Suzy Kassem, resonate as a timeless reminder of the power of self-belief. In the vast canvas of human existence, self-doubt has often been an uninvited guest, lurking in the corners of our minds, casting shadows on our aspirations and dreams. But as the light of wisdom has shown us, there are ways to conquer this adversary. Consider the words of the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, who once said, "To know is to know that you know nothing. That is the meaning of true knowledge." This profound statement suggests that the first step in overcoming self-doubt is embracing the fact that we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. When you find yourself in the grip of self-doubt, remember Socrates' words, "Accept that it's okay to not know everything." This acceptance frees you from the pressure of perfection and opens the door to learning, growth, and ultimately, self-confidence. Now, shifting the lens to a more modern context, the American inventor Thomas Edison once stated, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This perspective is a powerful weapon against self-doubt. Whenever you find yourself doubting your abilities, remind yourself that every setback, every failure, is not a dead end, but a stepping stone towards success. Taking cues from Edison's words, it's clear that reframing failure is an essential strategy in battling self-doubt. Instead of seeing failure as a deterrent, view it as a learning opportunity, a chance to grow and improve. A third strategy, inspired by the words of the legendary artist Vincent van Gogh, is to harness the power of action. He once said, "If you hear a voice within you say you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced." In essence, Van Gogh is implying that action is the antidote to self-doubt. When doubt whispers in your ear, drown it out with action. Start that project you've been putting off. Sign up for that class you've been contemplating. Write that book you've been dreaming of. In doing, you silence the voice of doubt. To sum up, overcoming self-doubt is a journey, not a destination. It involves accepting our lack of complete knowledge, reframing our perception of failure, and silencing doubt with action. Remember the words of these wise figures from history. Apply their wisdom in your own life. Embrace the unknown, see failure as a stepping stone, and let your actions speak louder than your doubts. As the American author Mark Twain once said, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So, don't let doubt rob you of your potential. Rise above it. After all, the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the narrative you tell yourself. So, change the narrative, overcome self-doubt, and see how your world changes.
Yeah, and so Shakespeare had something to say about our self-doubts. He says, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we often might win by fearing to attempt. Right? And that's the downside of listening to our doubts as the authority, because they make us kind of freeze and not attempt the thing that would actually benefit us and take us into kind of a new level of existence, a new level of like, this is my identity. I do this now and I'm good at it and I like it and this is enjoyable and this is a whole new world that opens up for me. So that's the trick with self-doubt. If you listen to it as the authority, it stops us. You know, it stops the flow and it stops the creativity. It stops the kind of freedom of expression. And we don't get to express our genius from that place. You know, so you can always tell the doubt. The doubt is the thing that it doesn't move. It's like the frozen stop. Oh, you can't. No, it's all the kind of negative thing. And, you know, it's up to us at that point whether we want to listen to that or the higher calling from us that, oh, it'd be really good to express this thing or explore this other thing or try this other thing. Okay. So to go a little further into this, we got to get down again to the idea of parts theory in psychology. And basically what that is that we have all these different parts of ourselves. And each one of these parts are kind of like an outline of an aspect of ourselves at a different time in our development. And these parts are either helpful to us in who we are today or unhelpful. And like, let's say you have a part of you that every time someone forgets to call you, a friend of yours forgets to call you and invite you out with the rest of the friends, you get very hurt and angry and you block everybody for a week or two because you get so hurt and you kind of hide away. I'm just making this up, okay? But out of 10,000 people, that might be one of you. So let's say that's it, okay? And so that part that hides away, that puts up a big wall, that gets triggered in that way from that thing, instead of saying, hey, where are you guys going? Can I come too? I'll be there and meet you, right? If you have that thing, that part that hides away and that puts up a wall, you don't want that part to be making your decisions for you. Okay? It might be a good thing in terms of like if there's something scary coming your way or something, you know, traumatizing, for that part to kind of, you know, take you away and hide and protect yourself. But that part is not good at making the decision for your creative endeavors, let's say, for, you know, maybe a good investment that you're going to make, or necessarily a good part to decide who you should date or who you should marry. Okay. That needs a different part of you, or, you know, the manager of all the parts should be making that decision. So if we take that parts theory and superimpose it on self-doubt versus the creative, inspiring kind of forward movement, the self-doubt isn't the one that should be making the decisions for your personal growth. Okay? And so, you know, you can say, okay, Ben, that's not so easy because the self-doubt is very loud and it's scary. And yeah, it is sometimes. Absolutely. But the more you kind of pay attention to it instead of ignoring it and shying away from it, like in my book, what are your doubts about this thing? What are your doubts about this certain life skill? What are your doubts about your ability to actually do this? When you write them down and you kind of expose them for what they are, they give away their weakness. Because after that, when you see what they are and you're like, okay, I see it. Part of me is afraid to get up on stage and sing because I think I'm going to make a fool of myself. Okay, so there we are. Okay. Now what? What else have you got? Self-doubt. What else have you got there to terrify me with? You're going to see, all right, that's the self-doubt. And how can I move past that? And so you use your other quality. The other part is like, man, I love to sing. If you didn't love to sing, you wouldn't even think about wanting to get up on stage and do it. So you go with the part that loves to sing. And what do you get out of that? Wow. Like for me, I'm a singer. When I sing, I just have, I really kind of open up. I like to challenge myself. I like to move with the music. I like to feel like the tempo within my system, and I like to express myself in that way. And it feels really beautiful, and it feels like a different part of me, and it feels like something that just feels very rewarding, right? So I'm happy to use that part of me to make the decision to sing rather than the self-doubt, because the self-doubt is again, acts like an authority, but it doesn't take into consideration all the beauty and the joy that one would get from doing that thing, in this case, singing. So you do have a choice, right? And if the self-doubt is there, if you're not afraid of it, take a look at it, take a very close look, and you'll see, getting over that self-doubt is guys inherent in the whole dynamic there. You need that self-doubt as a hurdle to jump over to get to the part of you that really wants to do whatever this creative expression is or whatever this growth spurt is in terms of your personal growth. And in terms of the Shakespeare quote where it said, it robs us of what we could have been doing because of not making the attempt. That's really important here. That's very, very important. If we listen to self-doubt and we stop right there and we don't even try, think about what the world could be losing. What you have within you, all of your self-growth and all of the things that you brought here with you in your genius to express is really important, not just for yourself, but the world around you, the world in which you come in contact with, and the people and the places and the plants and the animals in it. There is a stake in you being more of who you are, a deeper version of who you are, a non-traumatized version of yourself. There's a stake in that because you are here just as you are, only once, and just like any other object that you see in the world, you are that important too. And so to listen to that layer where doubt exists as the final authority as to what you should be doing with your life is it's really kind of a shame, So it's easy to say, don't let your doubts stop you from trying something. But isn't that usually what stops us? I mean, it's what usually stops us from doing whatever the thing that we're trying to do is our doubt. So I know this is not an easy thing to kind of talk about, to get over, to move through. But nonetheless, this doubt layer, it has to be seen for what it is, because it's the killer of many, many, many beautiful and important expressions that would help the world at large. So You don't have to be brave to go past your doubt. You just have to be conscious. And seeing doubts consciously, when you can really look at them without shying away, you will expose them for what they are. And what they are is just an underhanded way of protecting yourself. If I freeze and if I don't endeavor, if I don't make the attempt, then I'm not going to look bad. I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to be foolish. I'm not going to waste my time, right? So it's a weird attempt to try and keep yourself safe. But the problem is, it doesn't keep you safe. It keeps you stuck. Doubts don't keep us safe. It keeps us stuck. Now, doubts are different than discretion, right? Let's say I'm walking along the railroad track and I want to cross and there's 10 tracks and I see a train coming. And I'm like, I don't know if I can make it before that train comes there. That's a good place to have, not a doubt, but like, let me be discreet about this and err on the side of caution and not go in front of that train. Let me wait till there's nothing visible to cross these tracks. Okay. It's not like I doubt I can make it. Well, okay, you shouldn't, but when you're talking about something that, that's kind of the vessel of your joy, vessel of your, your self-aware, fulfilling self, your genius. I want to express in this way. I want to grow in this way. I want to, contribute to life in this way. Listening to doubts is not helpful, and it doesn't save you, and it doesn't protect you. It kind of stops you from contributing to the rest of the world at large what you brought with you. And that's kind of a shame. That's kind of a shame. We don't like that. So let's do this. Let's do a guided visualization about how to move through self-doubt and what to do with it. And, I'll walk you through some exact particular scenario that you can kind of fill in the blanks with your own material. And then, we'll come back and dig into it a little bit more. All right, let's have a short commercial and guided visualization, and I'll see you on the other side.
Ben Hummel's writing comes from a deep well of experience, practice, and wisdom. The Genius Way teaches you the life skills you need to find your own unique genius. Summoning Genius helps readers to turn a midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal growth. You can find Ben's books on thegeniusway.com, Amazon, and most online booksellers.
Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and then deeply exhale. Imagine that you're opening your mailbox where someone has left a letter for you. You open the letter and discover that you've been granted an opportunity to realize one of your most ambitious goals that you've been working on for a long time. What is this goal? Take some time to acknowledge the positive feelings that you have about this amazing opportunity that's been given to you. What are these feelings? Now, along with these feelings, you become aware of a doubt that you have about your being able to realize this goal. What is this doubt? Allow yourself to speak this doubt out loud. And now, instead of giving yourself completely over to this doubt, simply let it occupy a small corner of your awareness. See it getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it just stays in the corner all by itself. Now, allow the positive feelings to fill in the rest of your awareness, while holding the doubt in that small corner at the same time. You can acknowledge both the positive feelings and the doubt simultaneously. By this comparison, how powerful does the doubt feel now? You can see now that having a doubt doesn't negate everything else you feel about your possibility for success and achievement. Having a doubt is not significant, nor is it a reason to stop or postpone your journey towards your life goals. And now, with this experience fully intact in your awareness, and when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into this room. So another way to look at doubt is to see it as a helper. Now, this is when you have stopped seeing your doubt as something that is there to hurt you, something that is there to stop you, and when you stopped taking it as the authority over whether you should do something or not. Just when you get to the place where you can assume that doubt is going to be there and it's part of the package, and it's not there to stop you or to freeze you, but just like it's kind of hanging around there, and I will kind of move past it, and it's not a reason to stop what I'm doing. So I'm going to read you another quote by a poet named Rilke, and I don't know if you know about this poet or not. Most people do. This is him writing to a younger poet about doubt. And so Rilke says, "Your doubt can become a good quality if you train it. It must become knowing. It must become criticism. Ask it whenever it wants to spoil something for you, why something is ugly. Demand proofs from it. Test it, and you will find it perhaps bewildered and embarrassed, perhaps also protesting. But don't give in. Insist on arguments and act in this way, attentive and persistent every single time, and the day will come when, instead of being a destroyer, your doubt will become one of your best workers, perhaps the most intelligent of all the ones that are building your life. See, so doubt doesn't have to be the wet blanket on you. You know, Rilke says it in this perfect way. This doubt can be your best ally, because when you dialogue with it, like, you really look at it, instead of it just being this shitty feeling, it's more like, I feel the doubt. What's it actually saying? Okay, you can't get up there to sing. You're going to make a fool of yourself. And you dialogue with it. Am I really going to make a fool of myself? Who's going to think I'm a fool? Okay, is it that woman over there, or that couple over there in the audience? Who's going to think I'm a fool? Who cares that much about me that I'm going to make such a fool out of myself that, these people are going to have this huge opinion and it's going to make a difference in my life? And you dialogue with it, And what Rilke is saying is that the more you dialogue with it, you're going to find that it runs out of that argument on why you shouldn't do what you're wanting to do, why you shouldn't explore your life in this certain way, why you shouldn't take a chance. It's going to run out. But every once in a while, you're going to find some valid criticism in there that's going to help make your expression that much better. And it's going to give you, maybe you were reaching a tiny bit too far at some point. That's possible. Maybe you shouldn't, try to play all four instruments yourself in the same song and sing, just making something silly up. But the point is that use your doubts as, through dialogue, as an intelligent source of how to keep going with your own work, with your own growth. That's a great way to use it, but it takes looking at it very closely in order to kind of get to that place. You've got to look very, very closely at your doubt and not be afraid to look it in the face. That's what's important here. Okay? Don't be afraid to really, really dissect. What is this doubt really about? As if, let's say you have a friend and your friend's saying, nah, don't get up on stage. You're going to make an idiot of yourself. You sit there and like, wait a minute. What's this all about? Why would I make an idiot of myself? And you literally talk to it just like it's a person sitting there. You will come down to the bottom of it, and then you'll see, well, my reasons for singing are a lot bigger than what this doubt is providing me as a reason not to do it. Okay? That's what's important here, is don't leave your doubts unexplored because they don't feel good. Explore them. See what they have to tell you. And when you keep going with it, you'll see they're not as important as you might think they are. And they can actually start working for you. Right? Okay, so this is really important. And, you're going to find a lot of ways to use this in your life, this exploration of doubts and how to deal with your doubts. And so we're going to take a short commercial break now, and then I'll come back with some inspiration to send you on your way.
Hi, I'm Kelly Melissa Reinhart, host of Make Mental Health Matter. Join me on Mondays at 11 a.m. and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the Achieve TV network right here on E360 TV.
If you find yourself struggling with self-doubt, remember this basic truth. A doubt isn't there to stop you from attempting something. Instead, it gives you an opportunity to stand up for whatever is within you that's stronger and more important than doubt. Any expression or endeavor that's worth risking has to be strong enough to stand up to and move past any doubt you may have. Doubts aren't bad or powerful. They're just not the voice of authority that you fear that they are. Seeing your genius as the final authority to your self-expression allows doubt to take its proper place in your awareness. And that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for joining me here. I really enjoyed being here with you. And here's your journaling prompt for this week, your self-inquiry prompt. And that is to make a list of your self-doubts and dialogue with one of them. Okay, that's your homework and journaling prompt for this week. And until next week, I want to invite you to stay curious, be kind to yourself, and remember that your genius has something to say.
Thanks for watching The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel. Make sure to visit thegeniusway.com for the resources you need to help you on your personal life journey. You can contact Ben at ben@thegeniusway.com. And you can follow The Genius Way with Ben Hummel on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for streaming The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel.